Why, hello there. My name is Angelica. I'm going to be your advocate for today, for your visit. Now, before we begin, I'm going to lay out the different steps that we're going to take during our visit today. First, you'll have a little bit of a meeting with me where we just discuss some of the details around your thought process, your coming here, what brought you here, what it is that you might need from our facility, all of the little small details in that regard. Afterwards, you'll be visited by a nurse who will take more health information from you just to see what kind of medication you're on, if you're taking any vitamins, what kind of health conditions you have, and what her advice might be for you in your current state. And then lastly, we're going to have, if you opt into it or opt for it, an ultrasound visit. This can be using an internal scope, or it can be done over the abdomen. So for now, I'm just going to gather a pen and some paper. How are you feeling today? Good. Excellent. Okay, let's see. All of the information that you share with me is completely confidential and private. We do not sell it off. We do not share it with anyone else unless we have your explicit permission to share it with a future OBGYN that you decide to visit or go with, or if you decide to share it with a future doctor who treats you during your pregnancy. Otherwise, everything is kept private and confidential. Okay? Okay, excellent. First question, how did you hear about us? Okay. Excellent. Okay, and you are aware that we do not offer any pregnancy terminating services, correct? Yes. Okay, excellent. We list that information on our website as well. We try to be, and we are very transparent about that fact. At our facility, our goal is to help you move forward with your pregnancy. This could include offering free services like ultrasound or prenatal care, or giving you the tools to have free and accessible prenatal care. And also when it comes to resources for baby, like diapers, formula, cribs, anything you might need. We work with different companies and different manufacturers who, through us, help us to give you a heavily discounted price, if not completely with complete freeness. Then they'll give that material over to you. So for example, with a crib that's valued at, for example, let's say $400, we can refer you to a company or a manufacturer where if they know that you're economically in dire straits or that you're falling on some hard times, they could give you a crib that's roughly around $100 as opposed to $400, but still have that $400 value crib, but just at a $100 price tag, or even better, for free, depending on their stock. So that's what we try to aim for here. We do try to give as many resources, including classes as well. We have a resource department that tries to do its best to educate future fathers and mothers when it comes to breastfeeding, the different stages of pregnancy, what signs to look for when it comes to health and sickness in your child and in yourself. All of these resources are free and available for you too. We're going to do our absolute best to guide you and to help you in any way that you need help. That way we make this process much easier for you. Now, let's see. Of all of the resources that I've mentioned before, do any of them catch your attention? The classes? Okay, cool. And the baby resources? Excellent. Well, we do give a package as well once you're done with your exams that further help as well. Also, keep in mind, if you do get some hunger during your visit today, or if you do get a little bit thirsty, please do tell us. We have a lot of snacks in the back, so that way we can make sure that you're not struggling with hunger during your visit. But yeah, that's our objective. Are your parents informed of your pregnancy? Okay. And are they supportive and enthusiastic, or are they perhaps not necessarily a dependable source of support? Okay. And are you still in contact with the father? And is the father going to take an active role when it comes to the pregnancy and life of the child? Okay. Typically, that's the most vulnerable a woman can be when it comes to this process. Most pregnancies are terminated because the father is not in the picture or is not demonstrating that he's going to be actively involved in the child's life. So a lot of women, whether it's for financial or psychological reasons, then seek that end. But it's truly a tragedy. That's why we try to help as best as we can to try and supplement that role. Although, of course, a father's role can never be replaced. The mother can at least be given a lot of aid, or as much aid as she possibly can. We also have programs such as WIC and Pregnancy Medicaid that you can also look into. We'll give you all the resources you need to apply and to look for the different locations around where you live. And simultaneously, we also provide there is a temporary disability parking pass that you can also look for. This is basically, as it sounds, a parking pass that allows you to park in the disabled spots while you're pregnant, because the government offers that for pregnant women. There's a lot of government assistance programs that we can help you enroll in. Okay, there we go. You're also eligible for SNAP benefits as well, which, depending on your qualifications, depending on how it's rated in the system, that could subsidize a lot of your personal groceries. And also with the WIC program, it could also help with a lot of the formula and diapers that you'll need for baby. We'll help get you in contact with all of those resources. Once again, our objective is just that you continue with this pregnancy. Every life, although may be conceived in tragedy or in great straits, or might seem like, almost life-ending circumstances, every life is an opportunity for a mother to feel what unconditional love is going to look like. Your child is going to love you more than you can ever fathom. They're going to need you more than you can ever fathom. And we want to make sure that every mother has the accessibility to know that love before she makes a mistake out of tragically desperation, or out of foolishness or ignorance, or worse, out of just blind materialism. Some people will argue that certain conditions in life preclude you from having a happy one, such as if your parents aren't making six figures, that automatically means that your child is going to be suffering, which automatically means that they're better off never coming to earth. But at that point, you do have to wonder, well, that from that worldview, or from that point of view, it almost seems like the person isn't content with life themselves, and it almost seems like nothing will make them satisfied, so they consequently think that a child who only asks for their mother's love will then feel the same way if they don't receive material conditions that are ever elusive. Now, there we go. Do you happen to have anyone who is supportive in your network? For example, any friends or co-workers? Okay. I would highly recommend taking a job at a child care facility, whether it's a daycare or even starting a daycare in your personal home, although there's a lot of paperwork involved in that process. This will allow you to have reduced costs on your childcare. There are also some government programs that we can also introduce you to that'll also offer reduced costs for your childcare. But if you work at a daycare, you simultaneously get paid to be near your child while taking care of others. Likewise, if you're working at a daycare program in home. This is something that a lot of mothers found as an excellent resource when they're once again kind of facing this difficulty. Okay. And are you currently feeling pressured to end the pregnancy, or are you feeling pressured to do anything that might be against your will? Okay. There is no catch when it comes to the pregnancy center. No costs. Everyone who works here is volunteer basis. The nurses are all working here pro bono, basically. They're not getting paid. They're working here because they have a true passion for that mission of wanting to help women who are not doing well in life and just need that extra encouragement to keep going and not make a huge mistake. Likewise, myself, I'm not being paid. I do this on a volunteer basis. It's just a matter of passion we all have for women and their children and wanting to see them supported and helped in a world that almost seems hostile or antagonistic to the very concept of motherhood. So, no one here gets paid. The facility is funded by fundraisers that we host every year, and also from donors who also feel very passionately about wanting to continue life and wanting to support it and, make it as accommodating and easy as possible in this country. Okay. There we go. Is this your first pregnancy? Okay. And have you done anything or attempted anything to end the pregnancy? Okay. Do you intend on doing that? Okay. Have you had thoughts about it? Okay. Well, I'm going to give you some pamphlets. They're going to give you a bit of information on different subjects. The different subjects include adoption, in case it becomes very difficult for you to keep the child, but I would obviously say that the mother is the best place a child can be with, unless, of course, the mother is struggling heavily with anything that might place the child in danger. At that point, adoption might be something that you would want to consider, but there's also statistics related to adoption and all of the background information you might need on that. Pregnancy as well, the different stages of pregnancy, what it looks like, at what point of pregnancy you're currently at. Some information about terminating a pregnancy, the health effects of it, the psychological effects of it, the emergency risks that you incur as well, and then also just in general, motherhood sort of resources to help you find a gynecologist or a doctor to follow up with your pregnancy, and also anything that you might need. So give me a moment. Here are all of the pamphlets that you can peruse through. And likewise, we're going to be giving you throughout this visit more and more information, including pictures of the baby, and then which could include 3D ultrasounds even this early. We're also going to give you some vitamin recommendations, such as vitamin B6 if you're nauseous, and the nurse has more information on that. Milofin, I believe, or Miflin, which helps you to absorb some of the nutrients that your baby and vitamins that your baby is going to need. And she's basically going to cover everything that health-wise you'll need to know. So, which brings me to my next question. Do you have any plans on getting on a health insurance plan? Will you need help with that? And will you need help locating a doctor? Okay, we have resources for all of that when it comes to applying for a pregnancy Medicaid, and also when it comes to finding a doctor who will service you in your area. We do not recommend specific doctors for any reason, just because that can be seen as political. But we do obviously want to give you a doctor that's closest to you, just for comfort's sake. Okay. Now, as previously mentioned, the volunteers here are very passionate about our mission here. This mission is faith-based, of course. We all come from different denominations of Christianity. But naturally, that passion for life and wanting to see it flourish comes from the love that we feel, the love that comes and emanates through from our Creator. So naturally, if you feel comfortable with it, I would love to pray on your behalf and for you, so that way you feel a little bit more strength when it comes to this undertaking you're going to go through. It can be very nerve-wracking and overwhelming, but in general, every woman here feels that through the grace and through the strength that the Lord has provided, we've been able to feel such tremendous support during our worst pains, physically and also psychologically, that it helps pulls us through dark moments that we don't know we can pass. So if you're comfortable with that, I would love to pray for you, and then our nurse will be in to take some of your health information. Okay, excellent. Well, in that case, I will begin. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, as we forgive. Give us today our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. O Lord, please help our darling friend here to see beyond the monsters and dangers that she fears ahead of her, and to instead feel the tremendous strength from her soul, spirit, and mind to push through for this little baby of hers, this little life of hers that she is now nursing and going to mother. This challenge is, of course, very strong, but it is a challenge that is worth everything in life. It is the most beautiful thing that a woman can ever accept into her life. So please, Lord, allow her to not be conquered by fear and to not be conquered by her flesh, but instead to be strong enough for herself and for her baby to face whatever adversities come her way. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Okay, so I'm going to call in the nurse. She will kind of get a health intake on you, and then she'll recommend certain vitamins or certain, regimes, routines, you name it, that'll help you during this pregnancy. And then after she leaves, we'll then send you over to the ultrasound technician, who will then take the photos of your baby that you can then take home. We will also send you off with a little baggie of information and goodies, so that way you have that at your disposal. We'll schedule a follow-up meeting, so that way we just kind of get a better picture as to how your baby is developing and how you're doing during this process. And after that, we'll discuss, if you want to start taking classes, resources, and how to get on the government programs that you might need. Okay? Okay, excellent. Well, let me go get the nurse real quick. Hello there. I'm going to be your nurse for today. How are you feeling? Okay, excellent. My name is Nurse Angelica. May I get your name? Okay, Excellent. And date of birth, please. Okay, perfect. Excellent. Well, during our meeting, we're going to cover some essential details that we'll need to inform you about and just kind of cover to ensure that you have a healthy and safe pregnancy. Okay? Okay, excellent. So, tell me, are you on any medication, any vitamins? What kind of supplements are you taking? Okay. Excellent. Okay. Omega-3s are great for the baby. A lot of women get very strong aversions to certain types of foods. So if you find that there are certain foods that you cannot digest or process, I would highly recommend, perchance if you can, getting like a mortar and pestle and just sort of grounding out some essential herbs and kind of putting them into capsules or buying them. There's a lot of nutritional health stores that offer capsules that are just ground down herbs and vegetables that you might need, or vitamins and minerals that you might need. Iron is going to be very important, magnesium, selenium, vitamin B6, B12 of course, and omega-3s are going to be excellent for baby's brain function. So if you find that you have some aversions to certain foods, which actually, what kind, have you been developing any food aversions? Okay. Okay. Yeah, once again, I will be recommending you to a pharmacy that will give you prenatal vitamins for a heavily discounted price, if not free, especially if you use our coupon, which is going to be basically kind of like a they're our partners, so we work together. So if you show the coupon, then they'll know that you were referred to the pharmacy by us, and then they'll give you some free prenatals. This prenatal has a compound called myelin, which helps baby to absorb some nutrients and vitamins that in commercial or mainstream prenatal vitamins are more challenging for baby to process. Okay, excellent. Tell me, what are some of the symptoms that you're experiencing? Okay, here I'll go through the list and then you tell me if you have one of those symptoms. Please go into detail about whatever you're experiencing. This is your moment right now. Okay, so we're gonna just make sure that everything's going smoothly for you. So, have you been experiencing any diarrhea? Okay, vomiting? Okay. How many times would you say you vomit in a day? Okay. Is there a specific time? Okay. Is there anything that triggers it? Okay, usually people know what triggers it if that's the case. Okay. Would you say that that's consistent, or would you say that it's often changing, where it's almost like something that didn't trigger it before now triggers it, and so on and so forth? Okay. No, yeah, that's fairly common. It's pretty common for some food groups where it's just the mention of it can provoke nausea, if not vomiting, in a woman. And then it's also very common where foods that don't provoke that nausea or vomiting in you just in thought, if you eat it, you still end up vomiting. Your system is kind of like a roller coaster right now. Your hormones are just going crazy, going up and down, up and down. Your blood pressure is going up and down. Your circulatory system is having to adjust. Everything in your body is basically adjusting for baby. So it's almost like you're on a very intense roller coaster. So these symptoms are very natural. Some people might argue where it's like, oh, it's a parasite, so it's your body trying to evict it. Not true. A parasite is a non-living organism that is foreign to the host body, meaning that it is not of its same species. These symptoms are basically all characteristic of someone who's like on a roller coaster. Their system is just having to adjust. Once you hit the second trimester, typically most women's bodies feel typically self-reportedly great because they start to get into that pregnancy glow. Their hormones start to kind of level out and they start to feel a lot more confident and radiant. Not for all mothers, there are some mothers who continue to struggle, but at that point you would have to kind of assess what are your stress levels, what are your conditions, what is the father doing perchance to help you, or in the absence of him, how is your network kind of supporting you, how are you managing your diet and exercise, so on and so forth. So there we go. Okay, to continue with the symptoms. Headaches. Okay. Any stars in your eyes? Any abdominal pain at all? Okay. Any bleeding? Okay. Let's see. Any eye pain? Okay. Fatigue. Yeah, very common. In the first trimester of pregnancy, you are going to feel extremely tired, extremely tired. Your body is basically running a marathon. Your heart is going, I think, at 2.2 times the rate that it usually does. It's almost like you ran a marathon. So it's very common to feel very fatigued during the first trimester. But once you enter your second trimester, statistically speaking, you're supposed to improve. Fatigue. Anything else that you might be experiencing? Okay. Okay, there we go. Any like heavy anxiety? Okay. All right. So, would you say that you could pass an entire day without vomiting up a meal? So you are eating consistently, you're not feeling like you're famished or emaciated, you're able to drink plenty of water? Excellent. Okay, great. Make sure that your water intake is high. If for any reason you seem to go a full 24-hour period without being able to keep down any of your food, then we would recommend you go visit the emergency room for some IV fluids. At that point, you and baby are going to need a replenishing of your fluids just to make sure you're both okay. If you decide for whatever reason not to do that, make sure you're drinking plenty of water. You're going to find that you're going to feel very dehydrated throughout your pregnancy. That's a risk. So we also do recommend that if you, for example, go to the sauna or any sort of like heated exposure, that you do so to a limited degree, just because it does increase your chances for dehydration. And as for your diet, what food groups would you say you eat? Like what does your typical diet look like? Okay. Excellent. Okay, and this is your first pregnancy? Okay. Okay. You said no medication, correct? Okay, excellent. There we go. Keeps things simple. All right. So for now, I'm going to write you up a referral to a pharmacy. This pharmacy is going to give you some prenatals that are designed to help you and with your nutrition and your needs during your pregnancy. Please do take them as instructed. And the pharmacy is actually around the corner, so I'm just going to write you up a little slip here, a little prescription. There we go. You could take that, and yep, we're going to keep an eye out for your medical checkups just to make sure that you're not struggling too much, and if you start to struggle, then we'll give you some medical guidance. We can't give you any medical intervention or any sort of prescriptive treatment here, mostly because it's not a facility that is approved for that. For that, you would have to go to the hospital or to a doctor's office. So, we will certainly give you guidance as to how to manage the pregnancy. We are definitely going to be with you here step by step to make sure that you make healthy choices for yourself and for baby. If you have any questions about your pregnancy and health, please do not hesitate to call our offices. We are more than happy to help you in any situation that you are in. But if you find that you are bleeding or experiencing abdominal pain that is very discomforting, I would say immediately go to the emergency room. You're going to notice that in your first trimester there is going to be some slight pain in your abdomen. Have you noticed that? Yeah? Okay, I'm going to note that down. Yeah. There is going to be some slight pain in your abdomen in the first trimester. This is due to just your uterus expanding for baby, just to give it a little bit of room. You're going to notice that as your pregnancy progresses, there's going to be some different body changes as well, physical changes, including, difficulty breathing due to the fact that your diaphragm is being pressed upon by baby. And you're going to notice that your bladder is going to have less of a time span on it. You're going to have to go to the bathroom a little more regularly, including to pass stool, which is going to be a bit softer than before, mostly because there is pressure on your intestines as well. And yeah, it's going to be a fun process. But once again, if you're going through any of these processes, they're normal, they're fine. But if anything does seem very abnormal, which it'll feel like there's something you'll have that instinct that there is something wrong. Not like a suspicious feeling, but you'll know something like crashed glass, something is wrong. In those instances, please do call the emergency room. If you're a little bit hesitant just because of the bill, then I would call into us so that way we can tell you to go to the emergency room, and affirm that this is a choice that you will need to do. We'll also guide you once again as to how to get pregnancy Medicaid so that your visits are covered, which doctors to go to, and if you end up falling into some emergency before all of those benefits can apply, then we'll also help and guide you through that process as well. We have so many resources for women in your position, medical resources, that we're just more than happy to share them with you. Okay, excellent. Well, thank you for sharing this information with me. Did you sign the waiver or the disclaimer that says basically that we can share this information with your gynecologist when we transfer you over to them? Okay, excellent. So that saves us a step. So we're going to be, with your permission, sending that information over to your gynecologist once you select who that may be, and we'll have everything on record for you. Keep in mind, we do love seeing babies come into our clinic after they're born, especially when the mother has been so thoroughly helped by our clinic. So if you do remember us, please do bring the baby back into the clinic. We would love to see your little bundle of joy. Okay, excellent. Well, I'm going to send in the ultrasound technician to come pick you up. There is a bathroom across the hallway. Empty your bladder so that way we can verify that you are pregnant. I'm going to administer a pregnancy test before you go with the ultrasound technician. I assume that you are just because you're here, so you've taken the pregnancy test, but we just have to confirm for our own records, and I'll be adding it to your file as well. Go empty your bladder. The ultrasound technician will inform you if the pregnancy test is positive or negative. Obviously, when it's positive, then we'll take you to the ultrasound technician will then perform an ultrasound on you. She'll do it abdominally, but then she'll also do it through your hoo-ha, to put it politely, and she'll be able to get a better image with the latter rather than the former, but she'll do both just so that way you can compare and contrast. We also do offer 3D ultrasounds, which is really, really cool and nice, especially for the first trimester, but we cannot determine the sex of the baby. even in our offices. All we can determine is the point at which the baby is at conceptually, so what week, how old the baby is, if the baby is inside or outside of the uterus, so if it's ectopic or not, and how well the baby is doing just from observing it, so just to make sure that everything is developing well. Okay, excellent. Well, I'll leave you to pee in the cup in the bathroom across the hallway. Hello there, my name is Angelica. I'm going to be your ultrasound technician. Did the nurse give you a rundown as to what's going to happen in our little office today? Okay, great. Well, just in case any details were missed, I'm going to give you another recap. Basically, I'm going to be putting a little bit of gel on your abdomen. I see that you've put that little skirt over your body. You've removed everything from the waist down, correct? I mean, you can keep your socks on, but everything that I'm going to need to access. Okay, excellent. So I'm going to be putting a little bit of gel on your belly. I'm going to lower down that towel, put a little bit of gel on it, and then I'll be pressing my probe or scope over your belly to see what kind of pictures we can get of the little baby. Okay? I'll be taking photos of the baby as we go along, but I am pretty sure, especially in your first trimester, that intravaginally is probably going to be the best way to get the best results, just because when we go into your lady parts, then we're going to be able to get a better view of the baby, the position, and how they're developing. So, do you have any reservations or hesitation when it comes to the ultrasound? Are you fine with these options, doing the abdomen first and then doing it vaginally? Okay, I just wanted to confirm because it is invasive. So, first things first, I'm going to put a little bit of gel on your belly. So give me one moment. To get the gel. Okay. The gel is going to be a little bit warm. It is heated, so that way it doesn't feel too cold on your belly. I know that during these little processes, these little checkups, you don't need any more pressure or discomfort. I'm gonna put it on top of your belly. Okay, there we go. There we go. Okay, and now I'm gonna be using this machine to determine where exactly the baby is. Okay, so keep your eyes on this machine. We'll see if we're able to detect the placement of the baby. Okay. Yeah, the baby seems to be here. I'm just going to lock in. Okay. There we go. Lock in some of these details. I'm going to be putting the baby indicator. That's your uterus or the uterine outlining. That's your bladder, emptied for your comfort. Okay. I see the head of the baby is right about there. There's the legs. Okay. Alright, yeah. I think, as we predicted, I'm going to have to go vaginally. So I'm going to be putting a lot of some lubricant onto my probe. I'm going to be entering this vaginally. I'm going to need your assistance, okay? So I'm going to be holding it by the end, but I'm going to need you to reach underneath your towel to help guide it into you for your comfort. Go as fast or as slow as is comfortable for you. But before we begin, I'm going to put a little bit of this lubricant on the probe so that way it's not too uncomfortable. So give me one moment. I'm just going to put a little bit of this in. Okay, there we go. that all nice and coated. Okay, good. All right, so now I'm just going to have you help me put this underneath your towel. Okay, slow as possible. There we go. Oh yeah, we're definitely getting way better visuals here. Okay, so you can see that's baby. There's the head and the legs. Excellent. There's the uterine outlining. There's the bladder. Okay. Let me measure baby from head to toes or to the feet. We use the spine as an indication of how long or how far along the baby is. From this point of view, I can tell that the baby is about 11 weeks. Okay, interesting. You're reaching the end of your first trimester. We're going to have to discuss your options when it comes to finding a gynecologist, a routine gynecologist. You'll discuss that with your advocate, who will be able to give you better resources. Okay. The baby is obviously inside of the uterus, so there's no concerns there. And then there's the heartbeat. Can you see it kind of blinking? Yeah, that little pulse is the heartbeat. Yep. Would you like to hear the baby's heartbeat? Okay, excellent. Keep in mind, I've been taking photos of the baby the entire time. I can also record and give you a sample of the baby's heartbeat as well if you'd like. Okay, cool. But for now, I'm just gonna show you the baby's heartbeat. Very healthy heartbeat, 158 beats per minute. Very healthy. The baby's heartbeat is expected to go very fast. Okay, let's turn that off. All of these photos will be printed off and given to your advocate, who will give it to you in a baggie to take home. Free of charge, of course. Okay, would you like to see the baby in 3D? Okay, excellent. Give me one moment. I'm just gonna pull up the software. Okay. There we go. There we go. Oh, look at little baby. What a precious little baby. What a precious little life. Okay. Once again, we can't determine the sex of the baby. Number one, because it is very early. And number two, because honestly, it's because it's just very early. The soonest that you can predict the sex of the baby is if you were to go and get some genetic testing done. In genetic testing, they take a vial of your blood, and then based off of the results, they're able to tell if your baby is a boy or a girl, among other such conditions, such as your chances of having the baby be born with Down syndrome or other genetic issues. There we go. But your baby looks very healthy to me. There's no issues that I see so far. Now, I'm gonna remove the probe from between your legs. You did really good. There we go. Now, I'm gonna soon leave the little room, and there's plenty of wipes over there. Please do wipe yourself down. Throw the little towel into the trash can. The photos will be made available to your advocate, who will give it to you in physical form. We'll also keep it as part of our documentation to give to your gynecologist, and also your ultrasound technician when you decide to go to a regular clinic. Do you have any questions by chance? Okay, great. Well, in that case, the baby looks very healthy. I'm so glad that you are not only just so far along in your pregnancy, but you're about to enter your second trimester. This is very important for you to find a routine gynecologist and ultrasound technician. Here we will help you find those resources so that way you don't have to feel overwhelmed nor breaking your bank to get them. Mostly because there is a lot of issue with finding prenatal help after a certain point in your pregnancy. Doctors will start to turn you down. They might not want to see you after a certain point. So we do highly encourage you to find a gynecologist and a routine doctor and ultrasound technician who's going to be able to keep you company throughout the rest of your pregnancy. Aside from that, get yourself cleaned up and all changed, and I'm very happy for you. Proud mama. Oh my god, it's gonna be so exciting. So happy for you. Well, and in any case, take care and